Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
live streaming has begun. Okay, thank you. And the first agenda item is apologies. Are there any apologies from the floor? No, it's okay. Declarations of interest, if you're happy enough, we'll take them as we go through the meeting. Okay, so item agenda 3 is Head of Economic Development report, and it's for information only. So everybody has had a chance to read through them. And if there's any questions, we'll take them. Councillor Tinsley.
Thank you, Chair. And Chair, thank you for the update on both of those. There's a lot of information in there, and certainly under 3.2, the employability and skills update. I have spoken to officers before in the past about this, and also our HR department. But I just want to reiterate the point again. Certainly under 3.2, that skills update of what we are doing and liaison with companies is excellent, but certainly at the apprenticeship event last week, which was an absolutely fantastic event and was attended by, I believe, up on about 700 parents and young people. And speaking to many of the businesses and the young people there at that, and it's excellent to see us as part of the council as part of that evening, and really witnessing firsthand the need for training and support for our young people. Well, I believe as a department, Chair, or as a council, we should be ensuring we are supporting by offering similar employment training opportunities in this council as what is being offered in the private sector. And by that I mean, and maybe we have this in council and I'm totally unaware of it, but to date I have never been told we have it. And that is the need for the likes of junior apprenticeship programs. After our young people have done their GCSEs or their A levels, that there's some kind of an apprenticeship program in place that can maybe fill skill shortages that we have in terms of planning, that we could maybe develop an in-house working with the degree or something. I don't know the intricacies of it all, but I believe there's bound to be some way in which where we have a skill shortage that we could perhaps be encouraging young people. I also feel, Chair, that we should be also offering a type of a graduate scheme that also the private sector are offering for degree students who basically point blank need experience. They're coming out with excellent and they don't have the experience. And as a council, we have a wealth of experience, a wealth of departments, and we could be developing young people for the long-term employment within our council. I also believe that we should be offering one-year placement opportunities for university students. Again, that's in the private sector, and maybe we've done that in the past, but we're no longer doing it. But again, I would like to be encouraging council to be considering that. I know that in pre-COVID, we used to offer work experience for school students, and I know that this is slowly starting to return, but I would like to see that returning, at a much quicker pace, because our young people, as I said, they need the experience. So what I would request is, Chair, that officers work with this from this committee, work with our HR, and that I'm keen to see this kind of a programme moving forward. I know it'll not happen in this term of the election, and certainly it's something, if I am fortunate to be returned in May, that I will definitely be championing in the future. And if not me, I will be asking someone to champion it. The bottom line is, I believe in this council, we have in certain areas a skill shortage, and our young people need experience. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity, but just again to reiterate how fantastic that event was on Thursday night, and very much appreciated by parents and students. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tinsley. Your points have been well noted. Councillor Nicholson.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. And the thing that I wanted to sort of bring up is it's under that DERA Rural Business Support Programme. And it's sort of, it relates to it in that as obviously, again, this outlines the success of this program and what the borough has benefited from its support. And I suppose my question is, when's the next rural business support program coming? Because as I'm aware, there's nothing in the offering at the moment, and obviously we have got a declared interest. Chairman, I'm a member of SOAR, as are other members in this committee, and I have seen firsthand the delivery and also the networks that actually work together to create this program. And this is a program that's delivered millions of pounds into rural businesses and the rural areas of Northern Ireland. But at this stage, there's no proof coming forward that there will be a new rural development program. So I suppose my question is to Nicola. Nicola, can we get an investigation with the department and see what exactly is happening? Because obviously, as it says here, this program is coming near its end. It closed in May 22, and most of the projects are delivered or are currently being delivered. But there's no sign of a new program, and it is so important to the rural areas. And I'm sure many members here who are representing rural areas would love to see that program back again, because it does create jobs and it does create opportunities for rural businesses and rural communities. So thank you, Chairman, for letting me do that.
Thank you, Nicola. You want to come in?
Yes, thank you, Chair, and good evening, members, and thank you for the question. Yes, you're absolutely right that the Rural Business Support Programme has been a tremendous success across this area, at creating jobs, allowing people to have some cash flow, to have capital to spend on equipment, etc. And in fact, the Lord Mayor, myself and others were out today with 3 of the businesses across our borough, seeing the results of the programme in action. We were at one manufacturing organisation who was able to employ a new member of staff and take on new contracts as well as purchase equipment. We're also then at an animal farm who were able to produce and we were able to buy certain pieces of equipment that allowed them to go online and to extend their reach across to more customers. And then we're also at a rural tyre servicing depot as well. So great to see all of that happening. We were hoping to come next month with more information on the DAERA programme. Officers have been engaging with DAERA about what might be coming down the track. So we are encouraging those discussions and we're very hopeful that there will be a new programme, but we'll be coming back in March, hopefully with more details on that.
Yeah, thank you, Nicola. Councillor Kyle Savage.
Thank you, Chair. I really want to start off congratulate Council on the Food Heartland network that we had recently there, and it's great to see so many people at it. And again, great the presentation from Chris Elliott from Queen's University was fantastic and very enlightening and shows the potential that we have within this area. We need to progress this so much going forward, and take every opportunity. And again, keep referring back to the 10-point plan. We need to be embracing that and challenging that and moving forward on that. So we do, But on to the DAERA Rural Business Support Programme. I suppose similar to SOAR, SOAR at the very start, we set out and set ourselves a target of creating 94 jobs. To date, I think we've created 146 jobs, which is fantastic. So again, it shows the power, of small pockets of funding into the rural communities, the rural business network there within the rural community. And it'd be great to see this programme here of DAERA's starting again this year, if possible, as soon as possible. And is there any update on a timing? Is there been any correspondence at all, Nicola, on that? If that's going to start at all this year?
Thank you, Councillor Savage. Nicola?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yes, as I indicated, we've had some early discussions with DAERA and we believe the intention is to open this programme again But we will have further information in March that will be able to provide some clarity.
Yeah, thank you. Alderman Spears.
Yes, Chairman, I want to refer to the issue of the food heartland that has already been touched on by my colleague Kyle Savage. And we had a very interesting evening and a very wide spectrum of people involved in agriculture and food heartland here in the building at a very exciting night, as it were, in terms of conversations right across the scene. Now, I think it's, goes without saying that we had been very supportive of pushing for the agricultural strategy. And that, I believe, is a very important factor for the economy of ABC area. And that is outlined in the statistics within that report. Now, as Kyle has already said, we need to begin to put meat on the bones, so to speak. And there are a number of things that I believe are essential and necessary to do. And some of those are things that, yes, we are going to have to do. And we spoke earlier about the rates and where we spend the rates and who was paying the rates, and all those things are fundamentally important. But at the end of the day, I think that we as a council should never step away from the fact that we are civic leaders and place shapers in terms of driving forward the economy, driving forward the opportunities within the area. And in that context, I believe here in this particular document, there are opportunities for effective partnerships across the sectors that we can fulfill some of the ambitions that are mentioned in that document. There are things that we can't do ourselves. Some we can, but others have to be done at best in partnership. And I would like to think that at some fairly early date, and I know this mandate isn't going to last that long, and I don't intend to be here at the next one. So I would like to think that we begin to start putting some meat on the bones as regards some of these issues, skills-based research, discussions with AFBI and other people, Queen's, universities and whatever, to not only develop the agricultural strategy, but indeed the educational opportunities within the wider community in this area. So I just make those points. It was certainly my intentions and our thoughts that when we embarked on the agricultural strategy, that it wouldn't be a document for the shelf. It would be a document for driving the economy and driving forward the opportunities within this council area. And I think sometimes you can sit too long to do without availing of the opportunities presented. And I'm just saying, let us not sit too long, grasp the opportunities if they're there, where they're there, and work with those that are potential partners in us moving this forward. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Alderman Spears. Councillor McElrath.
Thank you, Chair. Listen, just a point that was brought up at our recent Portdown Chamber meeting, and Councillor Flaherty was there as well, and it just relates to some of the business raising with us the length of time it takes for change of use to come through the planning system. And I know we have members here that sit on the planning committee, and we're all very aware of the pressures in planning and so on at the moment. But when we talk about business support and help, I think it's relevant to point out, the issues that exist there, the length of time, perhaps a new business looking to get set up or several businesses, and there's a change of use application and the length of time that it takes that coming through, and they're being held back. And it was just a point that was raised with us as councillors at the recent meeting. And I know there's a suggestion put forward to have the senior planner come and address the chamber in relation to that matter. But it's just something perhaps that even as a committee we could take on board as well. And that, we are trying to stimulate, we are trying to encourage, we are trying to get more doors open, and obviously that can be a stumbling block. And I suppose to some degree it is an internal matter, but it's one that's not particularly easy addressed, but something that we need to be conscious of. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor McElrath. Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to Nicola for her update. I would agree with my other colleagues in relation to the rural business side of things, but many times it's outside our control. Over recent months, many of us rural councillors will be aware of the funding scheme that was for the small settlements, and that was secured through the Department of Communities and DAERA with the COVID recovery small settlement regeneration program. We had 4 information events, and all those businesses within that small settlement area basically was being told that the applications for your shop fronts or for internal projects within your business will open on Wednesday, the 9th of November and close on the 1st of December. Now, as a small business owner, I myself also went to look and say, right, let's get something here for the shop front for improvements. But you needed 3 quotations from the people in the expertise. And it was nigh impossible, because I phoned 3 businesses and they all laughed and said, are you serious? It'll be at least 2 to 3 weeks before we can get out to see you. So it's all well and good government departments bringing this money in, but for a very, very short period of time for the rural communities, for any community, for the big towns as well. I think it's a complete and utter shambles at that central government level that they're asking less than 3 weeks, literally, to get a programme or a project together. And we couldn't do it because it was outside our control. And I spoke to many businesses. In fact, I felt sorry for our staff at those particular events. One was in Rothrisland, one was in Keady, and one was in Warringstown and Tandragee. And I went to the one in Tandragee. And sadly, whilst the business owners weren't ignorant with our staff, they were really frustrated at them, saying, how do you expect us to get this delivered within 3 to 4 weeks? 3 quotations for something like £3,000. It was nigh impossible. And it was unfortunate that our staff had to take the brunt. And I think I would suggest or propose that we would write to these particular departments to outline our concern and our regret at the way this was managed and the very, very short time frame that we were given, because this really would have helped local businesses, people who were proposing maybe fit to alter the internals of their office space or shop space. But because of the short time frame of 3 weeks, it was totally impossible and totally unrealistic. And I think it would be important that whilst we welcomed this money, I would say there was very, very, very little take up on it, because we practically could not get anybody to give even quotations for that in that short space of time. So I would propose that we would write to the Department of Communities and DAERA in relation to this, to express our disappointment at the way this was managed, and should be managed better in the future for more time frame for businesses, whether it's rural or urban. They need to get their act together, because it's the council that takes the buck for it. It's the council that get the abuse for it. And it was something that was totally outside our control. And when that was explained to the business owners, then they understood. But it was our staff at the cold face that had to go into those public meetings to meet business people looking to expand, and were being told you have 3 weeks to get this done. So I would propose that we would write to the relevant government departments and express our deep regret at the way this is managed and hope that they improve this in the future for rural businesses or urban businesses.
Thank you, Councillor Barry. Councillor Nicholson.
Yeah, thanks, Chairman. I was late on was because I was going to declare as a member of the Planning Committee, but I do want to second Councillor Barry's proposal. I had similar conversations with people, and if anybody knows anything about the construction industry at the minute, you'll be looking at a price in 2 months, to be honest with you. But look, it goes beyond that, Chairman. There's a group of people in Belfast called CPD, and they overcomplicate everything when it comes to tender process when it's public money. And it in the recent day, emptied occupied, it's been the same. The amount of paperwork that has to be done by the applicants for a very small percentage of the actual cost of the project is crazy, and it's putting people off. And I did ask at the time when this was, like, I was fully supportive of this. I thought empty occupied was a brilliant idea, and it was bringing back, as I say, to use properties that were empty and maybe new business opportunities for startups or whatever. But the experience I have had with my client on it has been absolutely, as you described, Councillor Barry, symbolic. Not because of our staff, but because of the red tape that's being put in by CPD on it. It actually means that the grant a lot of the grant is taken up by the process rather than the actual construction, which it was supposed to benefit. So, look, I totally agree and concur completely with Councillor Barry that there's something needs to be done to get some reality into these folks, because I understand there has to be checks and balances on public money, but council for years worked themselves without CPD when it's public money. I know it comes through DFC, etc., but surely there's something that can be done to make this more soft touch, because as Councillor Barry has outlined, giving people 3 weeks to get a price for a shop front, it's nigh impossible. So I'm happy to second that, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Nicholson. Is everyone happy enough that we write on the council? Thank you. Councillor O'Hanlon.
Yeah, Chair, look, thank you. And just as on the same issue, and I don't want to rehearse everything that Councillors Barry and Nicholson have just said, but maybe if we could get an update from officers in relation to the progress of those applications that actually did go in. I know from, I attended the meeting in Katy that morning, and it was very well attended, and officers were very engaging with potential applicants. Look, even at the outset of the scheme, I suggested that we try and go for even the smaller grant scheme, the £750, which would have been a shop paint scheme. But look, I think at this stage, I'd like to see the applications that's there scored and out through the door, see what's left in the pot and see how we can revisit that for going forward. But additionally, in relation to Councillor Nicholson's comments around empty occupied, I've been approached by a couple of businesses in Armagh City about getting access to such funds again. And sometimes you think, is it worth it? Is the question that they're asking. But I'd be keen to see that come forward in due course. But would echo the sentiments, there's nobody does bureaucracy like central government. And if they're bad, we add 10 layers on top of it as well ourselves. So I'd be keen to try and cut down red tape and get whatever support there is there out to business as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Councillor O'Hanlon, and we'll ask the officers to follow up on the request you've made there. Councillor McCauley.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. No, it was just really on the back of the conversation, and a small point just on the back of what Councillor McElrath had given. I've been reliably informed as well by colleagues that NI water seemed to be a stumbling block as well in this, particularly in the case of Councillor McElrath's discussion there. But planning approval now been knocked back, and obviously because of capacity, and they're saying that it's full. These developers are obviously wanting to make a move on, and they're having to wait maybe a year or two for anything on that. So I would say that it needs to be addressed as well by NI Water as well as the department. But we have a lot of developers out there that are really, really hampered by lots of departments. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Macaulay. Agenda item 4, the Head of Tourism, Arts, Culture report. And again, it's for information, but I think Brian wants to come in with a few points here. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening, members. Just on 4.1 and 4.2, they're composite reports. So just to draw your attention to a few items in terms of the business support element, which is in 4.1. Again, it was something members are very minded to at the start of the sort of financial years. We looked ahead as to how businesses were recovering. So you'll see a number of initiatives in there in terms of how we've been working sort of on a daily basis with businesses to support them. And 4.2, just on the City of Culture update in terms of activity that's been ongoing since then. So just to draw your attention to those, but the others are again just for noting. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. And if there's no questions or comments, can I seek a proposer that we go into committee for the consideration of confidential items? Councillor Nicholson and Alderman Mutry. Okay, members and online viewers, in accordance with the Schedule 6 of the Local Government Act, we will now be moving into a confidential session of Council. This will mean that we'll be turning off the public feed of the meeting, and this will be returned when the meeting is restarted. Can I ask ICT officers to please turn off the live feed? Hmm? I'll wear a different one next time. Okay, thank you. Agenda item six, any other relevant business, and I have not been notified of any other relevant business. So I would close the meeting and wish you all a safe journey home. Thank you.